Hello, everyone. This is John Marshall with NYC and Company. I'll be talking to you all today with some New York City updates and some information about New York City. We're going to give we're going to give all of the attendees about 5 minutes to show up. So we'll be moving forward in approximately 5 minutes. Thank you for your patience. Hi again, this is John. Thank you all for joining us today. For anyone who just joined, we'll be starting in approximately 3 minutes. Hi, everyone. This is John. We'll be starting in just under a minute. So thanks again for your patience. We'll be starting in just under a minute. Okay, I think that's it. We can begin. So hi again, my name is John with NYC Company, and I'll be talking with you today with some updates on New York City and how we've been faring through coronavirus, and also give you some information on how you can help your clients get around New York City as well. So today we'll be sharing with you everything you'd want to know when planning a trip for your client to New York City, including its geography, how to get there, navigating the city, and how to experience the city and its neighborhoods in and out. Before the webinar begins, I'd like to take a moment for you to locate your control panel. It will be a helpful tool to use during the webinar. It can typically be found on the right side of your screen. There will be one-way audio during the presentation. You will hear me, but I won't hear you. If you have any questions, please type them into the questions section of your control panel. Again, you may need to click on the arrow in order to expand the panel. I'll be answering the questions during our Q&A at the end of the webinar. So my name's John Marshall, and I'll be talking to you today. I'm the Director of Tourism Development here at NYC Company. I hope everyone and their families are safe and healthy at this time. NYC Company is the official destination marketing organization for the 5 boroughs of NYC. Our mission is to maximize travel and tourism opportunities throughout the city, build economic prosperity, and spread the dynamic image of NYC around the world. Now is a very different landscape to do that, but we're still continuing to do that work here. Visitors, workers, and residents, the safety is the very first priority of any of New York City's recovery plans. We continue to flatten the curve and have officially entered into phase 3 of the New York Forward reopening program created by Governor Cuomo. Some of our hotels, retail, outdoor dining, and personal care businesses are open for operations, and specific guidelines for each sector are available on our website on the coronavirus information and resources page, along with other useful information. We have also launched the Coalition for New York City Hospitality and Tourism Recovery, as well as the two-way Stay Well NYC pledge to help the 5 boroughs reopen responsibly. NYC Company is planning for the city's reemergence by reimagining its future. Now it is the time to consider how we can reopen our doors and safely reconnect with the 5 boroughs and each other. We're committed to public safety and health, fueled by creativity and innovation, and created in partnership with leaders across the industries. So our new coalition will engage, mobilize, and champion all sectors of our visitor economy. Together, we will lead recovery efforts and revitalize New York City. The Stay Well NYC pledge ensures everyone's well-being. That is very paramount right now, and it's a community effort. We at NYC Company are asking tourism and hospitality businesses and their guests to take this pledge, backed by public health protocols, to help the 5 boroughs reopen responsibly. The Stay Well NYC pledge is a commitment to the everyday practices that will keep our community healthy and safe. And it's a two-way street requiring participation from both businesses and their guests. We have a few key updates that have been announced recently that we want to share with you. Broadway shows were recently canceled through January 3rd, so we hope to see the Great White Way return on January 3rd. The UN General Assembly, scheduled for late September, has been canceled. The NYC Marathon, also scheduled for 1 November, was canceled as well. And for the first time ever, the MTA subways are closed from the hours of 1 a.m. to 5 a.m. in the morning. For a deep cleaning. So it's actually a really good reason that they're closed for 4 hours a day to make sure that the system is as safe as possible for everybody. On a positive front, Laguardia Terminal B has opened, and this is a new arrivals and departures hall that has an immense 79,000 square meter facility and includes 4 levels for passengers. The design incorporates soaring ceilings and an abundance of natural light, creating a comfortable and welcoming ambiance for passengers. So it's great news that we were able to add that to LaGuardia Airport. The U.S. Tennis Open, scheduled to start on the 24th of August, has been greenlit and will go forward without spectators. Similarly, the U.S. Golf Open is ready to go for the 17th of September, and it will go forward without spectators. And lastly, Comic-Con, which is the famous celebration of comic book culture, sci-fi, that will be going on starting the 8th of October. So that's it for our updates, just some quick highlights there. And we'll start to talk about things that you need to know about New York City, with the geography, how to get here, navigation, and some resources that you can use. So New York City is the largest city in the United States with 8.6 million people. That's twice the size of the second largest city, Los Angeles, and is made up of 5 boroughs. So a borough is like a smaller city within our massive metropolis. NYC has 5 of them: the Bronx, Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and Staten Island, each with dozens of neighborhoods lending their own local flavor. There are over 200 languages spoken in the 250 plus neighborhoods that cover the 5 boroughs. New York City has a humid subtropical climate with 4 distinct seasons. We are currently in our summer season, which you can see in the Coney Island beach over here. Our beaches in New York City are currently open for sunbathing and swimming. Moving to time zone, New York City is on Eastern Standard Time. So that's Greenwich Mean Time minus 5 hours, with an exception for daylight savings time. Now we'll talk a little bit about how to get here. New York City is served by 4 main airports. All of them are currently undergoing updates and expansion to provide improved service. LaGuardia Airport is the oldest commercial airport in New York City and is undergoing a comprehensive redesign. As you can see in the rendering, sorry, I actually don't have a rendering here, missing a slide. But the airport will be transformed into a single structurally unified main terminal with expanded transportation access. It will also have significantly increased taxiway space and best-in-class passenger amenities. The redesign will open in phases between now and 2021. It's located in Queens and is the closest airport to Manhattan. It is primarily a domestic hub aside from Canadian and Caribbean flights. Also located in Queens, the John F. Kennedy or JFK International Airport is the largest airport in New York City. JFK is currently undergoing an extensive transformation into a unified world-class airport. You'll see in this rendering that this multi-year investment will focus on expanding and connecting newer terminals, a complete redesign of the airport's roadways, expansion of parking lots and taxiways, and state-of-the-art security technology. To obtain ground transportation information, your client should visit the Port Authority Welcome Center located in the arrivals area of each terminal, where uniformed staff will be happy to assist them. Your client should ignore offers of transportation from solicitors in the terminal. Soliciting of ground transportation is illegal, and many illegal solicitors are unlicensed and uninsured. It may take your client anywhere from 45 minutes to 1 hour to travel by taxi between JFK Airport and Midtown Manhattan, depending on the time of day. Between JFK and Manhattan, the flat fare is $52 to the first destination plus tolls and tip. Although Newark Liberty International Airport is located in New Jersey, it's just 23 kilometers outside of Manhattan. So this translates to a 30-minute ride or so to Penn Station using the AirTrain. You can also get ground transportation by visiting the Port Authority Welcome Center located in the arrivals area of each terminal. It will take your client anywhere from 40 minutes to an hour to travel by taxi from Newark to Midtown Manhattan, depending on the time of day. You know, it's the oldest commercial airport in the United States, and it's undergoing a massive redevelopment. You can see a preview of this in the rendering. The redevelopment will include a new terminal, roadway, a 3,000 space parking garage, and more. The terminal is slated to have a partial opening in 2021 and a full opening in 2022. In January 2018, New York State's governor announced a $34 million investment in Stewart International Airport, rebranding the airport to New York Stewart International Airport and expanding international passenger service. There is an enhanced 90-minute Stewart Express bus service that provides service to and from the Port Authority bus terminal in Midtown Manhattan. And if your client is in need of taxi service, there is a customer welcome center that provides assistance to schedule rides. A new permanent U.S. Customs and Border Protection federal inspection station will also allow the airport to handle both domestic and international flights. And you can see the rendering here with the planned redesign of the airport. So once your client has arrived in NYC, how will they navigate it? The Wi-Fi access is always key these days, and New York City has many free Wi-Fi options so visitors can connect to nycgo.com and other travel information tools. Link NYC is one of those options. It's the first of its kind communications network that replaces over 7,500 payphones across the 5 boroughs with new structures called links, which you see in this photo. Each link provides super fast, free public Wi-Fi, USB charging stations, and access to make phone calls. Transit wireless Wi-Fi is another free option, available in all subway stations for 1 hour at a time, simply by opening the Wi-Fi on your device and selecting transitless Wi-Fi. There are also many public spaces with Wi-Fi options for your clients to take advantage of in parks, hotels, cafes, libraries, and restaurants across the boroughs. Popular sites such as Bryant Park and Union Square offer free Wi-Fi. For a list of New York City parks that offer free and limited Wi-Fi, please visit nycgovparks.org. Maps are a must for navigating the 5 boroughs of NYC, and there are navigation tips that make understanding the NYC map that much easier. No matter where your client is going in New York City, there are many transportation options to choose from. With the purchase of an Mta Metrocard, a visitor can ride the subway, public bus, and Roosevelt Island tram. Mass transit is inexpensive, environmentally friendly, and a great way to get to the sites throughout the 5 boroughs. The subway and bus systems run 24 hours, 7 days a week. Riders can purchase an Mta Metrocard in the station, either at a Metrocard vending machine using cash or card, or at an Mta service booth using cash. Riders can pay for their trip with their Mta Metrocard or by taking advantage of One Metro New York, known as Omni, the MTA's new tap-to-pay fare payment system. If your clients want to take advantage of the Omni, they can simply tap the Omni reader with their own contactless card or smart device to make fare payments and enter the system. Since the MTA is still expanding Omni across the 5 boroughs, with rollout expected to be completed in 2023, we would still suggest you encourage your clients to purchase an Mta Metrocard to use as their primary pay option. This system will eventually combine fare payments and ticketing across subways, buses, and commuter rail. Public buses are also a scenic way to reach destinations not close to a subway stop. And although its route is limited, the Roosevelt Island tram gives you a wonderful aerial view of Midtown East along its path from 59th Street and 2nd Avenue in Manhattan to Roosevelt Island, located in the East River between Manhattan and Queens. Unlike the subway and public buses, the tram doesn't run 24 hours, but it does run 7 days a week. Hailing a ride can be ideal when tired feet, heavy luggage, or shopping bags weigh your client down. Just like the subway and public bus systems, they are available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, but the routes are more direct and the ride doesn't have to be shared with people. New York City's extensive fleet of yellow taxis and green borough taxis can be hailed on the street. If the numbers on top of the taxi are illuminated, the taxi is available to hail. Riders may also use the Curb app for a fast and safe way to hail New York City yellow taxis from their phones. Yellow taxis are licensed to pick up street hailing passengers anywhere in New York City, and green taxis provide street hail service and prearranged service in northern Manhattan and in other outer boroughs. When hailing a yellow or green taxi from the street, your client should always look for the taxi T markings and medallion license numbers on the roofs and sides of the vehicles. If there is no available taxi in sight, New York City also has a variety of ride-hailing apps to use, including popular apps like Uber and Lyft. As a waterfront city, New York City is home to an extensive ferry system that can get you from uptown to downtown Manhattan and across the rivers to Staten Island, Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, and New Jersey. For the cost of a single subway ride, the Nyc Ferry Service offers 6 routes that span over 96 nautical meters of waterways and connect to 4 boroughs: Manhattan, Brooklyn, Queens, and the Bronx. You'll see one of the ferries in the photo. Onboard concessions and charging stations are available to enhance your ride. New York Waterway runs a number of routes between New Jersey and Manhattan and provides free bus service to their ferry terminals. New York Waterway launched its first boat in 1986 and has carried over 65 million passengers since then. New York Waterway has the largest ferry and excursion fleet in New York Harbor. Lastly, the Staten Island Ferry is a free service provided by the City of New York. It runs 24 hours, 7 days a week, with free Wi-Fi services available in each terminal and also on all the ferries. The route between Staten Island and Manhattan's Whitehall Ferry Terminal is a glorious 5-mile, 25-minute mini cruise with great views of the Statue of Liberty. NYC is bikeable and can often be faster and cheaper than fuel-powered transportation. City Bike is New York City's bike sharing system. It's available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week in 3 boroughs: Manhattan, Brooklyn, and Queens. It'll be coming to the Bronx soon. After buying a daily, weekly, or annual pass, your client can unlock a bike at any station, ride wherever they want, and check in the bike at any other station. There are also a variety of paid bike tours available in New York City that can be booked for your client, but if they prefer to explore on their own for free, we can also provide suggested routes for them. If your client plans on biking while in NYC, you'll find helpful information under biking tips on our website as well. New York City is an excellent walking city, which will be a great breath of fresh air and scenic views. Getting around by foot is the best way to familiarize yourself with neighborhoods and other sometimes subtle divisions. Walking in NYC can be different than walking anywhere else. One helpful walking tip is to always keep to your right. Walk NYC signs are also a great resource for your clients to use while navigating the New York City streets. The signs provide valuable information that can be universally understood, from basic cardinal directions and street names to mapped details like subway entrances and Wi-Fi hotspots. The picture here shows one of many public pedestrian plazas in New York City. This one is by Macy's in Herald Square. New York City's Department of Transportation works with select organizations to create neighborhood plazas throughout the city to transform underused streets into vibrant social public spaces that are close to traffic. The NYC Plaza program is a key part of the city's effort to ensure that all New Yorkers live within a 10-minute walk of quality open space. Each of New York City's 5 boroughs features a wealth of exciting and accessible destinations. NYCGo.com has compiled several articles to help assist with accessible New York City travel planning in a section called Accessible NYC. A service dog is defined as any dog that is individually trained to do work or perform tasks for the benefit of an individual with disabilities. All government buildings, businesses, and nonprofit groups are required to allow service animals to accompany people with disabilities wherever the public is normally allowed to go. In addition to these tips, your clients may prefer flying into and out of JFK International Airport. They have a new pet terminal called ARK at JFK. It provides flyers, pets, and livestock with pre- and post-travel care, including an on-site veterinarian, overnight kennels, and special boarding assistance. NYC 311 provides access to a non-emergency city services and information about city government programs. Now that we've covered the basics, we're going to go into the 5 boroughs of NYC and talk about the neighborhood highlights, their parks, and recreation. For a refresher, these are the 5 boroughs of New York City: the Bronx, Brooklyn, Manhattan, Queens, and Staten Island. First up is the Bronx. What do home run heroes, hip hop history, and hand-pulled mozzarella have in common? Your clients can find them all in the Bronx. That is, when they're not wandering hundreds of acres of parkland or touring historic homes. The northernmost borough is the birthplace of hip hop and home to the New York Yankees. Throughout the year, families flock to the world-famous Bronx Zoo and lush New York Botanical Garden, while many locals head straight to Arthur Avenue, aka the real Little Italy. Grand Concourse in the South Bronx is full of Art Deco marvels. Blockbuster films such as A Bronx Tale and small screen hits like Bugs Bunny were filmed and recorded in the Bronx. Celebrities such as actress and singer Jennifer Lopez, actress Kerry Washington, and late comedian George Carlin all hail from the Bronx. The Bronx has historically been broken into 2 distinct regions, West Bronx and East Bronx, as sectioned by the Bronx River, which runs vertically through the center of the borough. The Bronx is home to over 1.4 million residents. There are more than 50 neighborhoods in the Bronx, and we'll highlight 5 of them on the upcoming slides, starting with Woodlawn. This woodsy Bronx neighborhood is home to a beautiful 19th century cemetery that doubles as a national arboretum. The area has a strong Irish American heritage, evidenced by many Irish pubs and restaurants along Petona Avenue. Fun fact, Woodlawn Cemetery, a National Historic Landmark known for its ornate mausoleums, is the final resting place of Herman Melville, author of the famous American novel Moby Dick, Fiorello LaGuardia, politician and 99th mayor of the city of New York, Duke Ellington, composer and originator of big band jazz, and other famed New Yorkers. Between the New York Botanical Garden's million plants and the Bronx Zoo's 750 plus animal species, Fordham invites your clients to walk on the wild side. Other highlights include historic Poe Park and a selection of popular Latin American restaurants. Encourage your clients to go for a double dose of nature, strolling through the New York Botanical Garden and the nearby Bronx Zoo, which we'll cover in more detail. Belmont is home to the Bronx's Little Italy, anchored by bustling Arthur Avenue with its family-run shops, bakeries, and groceries. Between bites of cannoli and sips of espresso, discover an enclave that's brimming with old world charm. A quaint seaside escape, City Island feels like no other place within the city limits. The Bronx fishing village is full of yacht clubs and waterfront restaurants. It's popular with visitors during the warmer months for its laid-back vibe, fresh seafood options, outdoor seating, and a range of activities, including scuba diving. Baseball's New York Yankees have broken many a record at home in this neighborhood, the South Bronx. It's also a place to find notable art and architecture, especially along the Grand Concourse, a major local thoroughfare inspired by the Champs-Élysées. Opened in 1899 as a conservation park, the Bronx Zoo has expanded over the years, becoming the largest urban zoo in the country, and to include new environments and become a major destination for families, school groups, and animal lovers, all while still maintaining its original commitment to wildlife. The zoo takes extra care to help guests and animal residents feel immersed in simulated global habitats with climate-controlled settings, realistic backdrops, and cageless homes. Sitting at more than 2,700 acres, 3 times the size of Central Park, this is New York City's largest park, Pelham Bay Park. It has an 18-hole golf course and a mini golf course, tennis courts, and Orchard Beach, the Bronx's only public beach. Your clients can tour the 19th century Bartow Pell Mansion Museum and stop by the Thomas Pell Wildlife Refuge and Sanctuary, which is home to some of the most diverse wildlife in the area. Formerly known as the Riviera of New York City, Orchard Beach, the Bronx's only beach, is still a popular hotspot on a hot day. The beach sits on the Long Island Sound and offers a one-of-a-kind view of City Island. Wave Hill is a public garden and cultural center in the Bronx overlooking the Hudson River, with sweeping views west to the New Jersey Palisades. Aside from the traditional gardens that one expects, Wave Hill has some more unexpected surprises, like paths that wind across a carpet of bright wildflowers in springtime and a pool adorned with water lilies and lotus flowers throughout the summer and fall. Now that we've explored the Bronx, let's head to Brooklyn. Your clients can do so by hopping on the 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, B, or D train, depending on their final destination in Brooklyn. Brooklyn entertains multitudes. Hipsters head to Brooklyn for live music and vintage threads. Super fans catch pro hockey and basketball at Barclays Center. Prospect Park and Park Slope beckon for families, as does the Boroughs restaurant scene. And no matter who you are, you love the views along the scenic Brooklyn Heights Promenade. Popular films such as The Godfather and Sophie's Choice and television show Boardwalk Empire are among productions filmed in Brooklyn. Brooklyn is hometown to many celebrities, including rapper Jay-Z, late artist Jean-Michel Basquiat, and singer and actress Barbra Streisand. Brooklyn is home to over 2.5 million residents. There are more than 70 neighborhoods in Brooklyn, and we're going to go through 4 of them. One of the first neighborhoods outside of Manhattan you'll hit after crossing the Brooklyn Bridge, Brooklyn Heights offers a cozy residential feel with all the conveniences of city life. Your clients can enjoy a walk along the charming streets lined with restored row houses or the panoramic view of Lower Manhattan from Brooklyn Heights. It's also home to the Brooklyn Historical Society, which offers your client a glimpse into Brooklyn's 400-year history, and the New York Transit Museum, where your clients can step down into a historic subway station and learn more about our transit system. Downtown Brooklyn isn't all business. Alongside towering office buildings in Brooklyn Borough Hall, the busy neighborhood sports brownstones, tree-lined streets, college campuses, and Michelin-starred restaurants. Dumbo's name is an acronym for Down Under the Manhattan Bridge Overpass, and the span gives the creatively oriented neighborhood much of its character, as do cobblestone streets and dramatic architecture left over from from industrial days. Instead of factories, today's Dumbo features art galleries, independent bookshops, boutiques, confectionaries, and co-working spaces. Visitors often explore here after a walk over the Brooklyn Bridge. Though it's become more refined in recent years, Williamsburg still has a hipster vibe, as is evidenced by indie music performances, gallery shows, and shops run by local artisans. Distilleries and wineries show off the neighborhood's flair for locally made spirits, while Smorgasburg packs in creative food vendors along the riverfront on summer Saturdays. We'll talk about some parks and recreation in Brooklyn. Nestled between 5 Brooklyn neighborhoods is one of New York City's most popular green spaces. That's Prospect Park. There's plenty to explore throughout the 585 sprawling acres of ball fields, trails, forests, and wetlands. Your client can enjoy a range of activities such as baseball, skating, biking, boating, bird watching, yoga, nature programs, and even a historic walking tour with the Prospect Park Alliance. In just a little over an hour, you can be transported from the glitz and glamour of Manhattan to the old school amusement of Brooklyn's storied Coney Island. The destination offers thrills, sun, surf, and a unique brand of entertainment that will feel worlds away from the rest of the city. It's home to the Cyclone, which is a legendary wooden roller coaster, the Luna Park Amusement Park, the New York Aquarium, Nathan's Famous Hot Dogs, the Brooklyn Cyclones minor league baseball team, and a world-renowned boardwalk and beautiful Atlantic beaches. Major league sports at the corner of Atlantic and Flatbush Avenues have been a long time coming, but the 18,200 seats Barclays Center is a reality. It's home to the Brooklyn Nets. The arena also features a more intimate 7,700 seat Tidal Theater, the shops at the Barclays Center, and more than 50 local food vendors. Brooklyn Bridge Park, as its name would suggest, is stationed under the Brooklyn Bridge. It draws thousands of visitors each week who come for awe-inspiring views of Manhattan and idyllic picnic spots along the waterfront. The park is also the site of special events, including the free Movies with a View, kayaking, rowing, and fitness classes. The appealing coastal attraction comprises a series of piers filled with recreational facilities, gardens, playgrounds, greenways, and grassy areas for hanging out. Now that we've explored Brooklyn, it's time to hop over the East River to Manhattan. Your clients can do this by taking the 2, 3, 4, 5 A, C, B, D, F, M, N, Q, R, W, J, and Z trains, or by taking the ferry. So there's a lot of options for getting to Manhattan from Brooklyn. When newcomers think of New York City, they often envision Manhattan. It has big name attractions like Central Park and the Empire State Building, renowned museums like the Met and MoMA, thousands of restaurants and bright lights at Broadway. But there's more to the borough, including charming blocks, funky shops, and hidden green spaces. It's home to over 1.6 million residents and serves as one of the most popular television and movie production locations, and is featured in such classics as the movie Breakfast at Tiffany's and television series such as Seinfeld and Friends. New television shows and movies are always in the work in the city that never sleeps. Celebrities from Manhattan include singer-songwriters Alicia Keys and Lady Gaga, actor Robert Downey Jr., the late artist Andy Warhol, and more. Manhattan is also home to major daytime, late-night news and talk shows such as Good Morning America, Saturday Night Live, and The Tonight Show, starring Jimmy Fallon, to name a few. We'll talk about some Manhattan neighborhoods, starting with Harlem. Ever since the Harlem Renaissance and early 20th century boom in music, literature, dance, and art, this neighborhood has been synonymous with Black culture. Explore the past and savor the present when you take the A train and other trains uptown. Here, your clients can enjoy late-night jazz set at Minton's, the birthplace of bebop, where they may catch a Miles Davis in the making. Bordered by Central Park and Riverside Park and lined with residential buildings that look ever so familiar from movies and TV, the Upper West Side is made for a stroll through pop culture history and history in general. Lincoln Center performances and American Museum of Natural History are just a few of its draws. Another, platonic ideal versions of NYC brunch and appetizing delicacies. The triangular shape of the landmark Flatiron Building looms large over the Flatiron District, an area of Manhattan that includes an abundance of beaux arts and cast iron buildings. The neighborhood is home to a rich dining scene, including elegant Mexican food and Michelin-starred New American eateries, plus the massive Italian culinary bazaar that is Italy. Madison Square Park is a go-to spot for provocative public art installations, free concerts, and the original Shake Shack, purveyors of some of the tastiest burgers in town. The Lower East Side is a vibrant downtown neighborhood and a popular nightlife destination. Its streets are lined with trendy places to drink, dance, and hear live music. Many of the area's synagogues, museums, and restaurants serve as reminders of its immigrant history. Now we'll take a quick stroll through the Parks and Recreation of Manhattan. One of New York City's most breathtaking and celebrated attractions, Central Park is a must-see for anyone visiting the 5 boroughs. Whether experienced during a fresh snowfall in the winter, the spectacular floral blossoms in spring, the steamy days of summer, or the gorgeous leaf-turning months of fall, Central Park is a sight to behold. The range of outdoor activities you can enjoy there is seemingly endless, from hiking, biking, and ice skating to simply lounging on a picnic blanket and listening to a live concert. The High Line is one of the city's most popular and distinctive parks. Built on a once abandoned elevated rail line, the green space offers unparalleled views of Manhattan's far west side. With places to visit and people watch, patches of grass, seasonal blooms, and fascinating architectural features throughout, it's a great place to relax and makes for an envy-inducing photo backdrop. Hudson Yards is New York's newest neighborhood. The site is home to more than 100 diverse shops and culinary experiences, offices for leaders in industry, significant public art such as Vessel, dynamic cultural institutions including the Shed, Edge, the tallest observation deck in the Western Hemisphere, modern residences, 14 acres of public plazas, gardens, and groves, and the world's first Equinox Hotel. Back over the East River we go, this time to Queens. Your clients can do so by taking the 7 E, F, M, R, and W trains or the ferry. Queens is also accessible from Manhattan via the LIRR, the Long Island Railroad. Queens can satisfy nearly every taste. See the New York Mets play baseball at Citi Field or catch a US Open tennis match next door. Foodies covet the Greek cuisine of Astoria and authentic Asian food in Flushing. Others admire the inventive art at MoMA PS1 and Socrates Sculpture Park, and the stunning flora at the Queens Botanical Garden. Kaufman Astoria Studios, first built in 1920, was home to Paramount Pictures and produced more than 100 silent films. It has more recently shot movies like The Bourne Legacy and The Secret Life of Walter Mitty, and television shows like Orange is the New Black and Sesame Street. Silver Club Studios, located in Long Island City, opened in 1983 in the former Silver Cup Bakery. Productions include the current television series Pose and past hits like the television show The Sopranos and the movie When Harry Met Sally. Most notable celebrities from Queens are rappers 50 Cent and LL Cool J, and singer-songwriters Paul Simon and Art Garfunkel. Queens is home to over 2.2 million residents. There are more than 70 neighborhoods in Queens. We'll highlight 4 of them on the upcoming slides, starting with Astoria. Just across the East River from Midtown, this Queens neighborhood is a hotbed of international culture and dining, including a long-standing Greek presence and a Little Egypt. Its film-related history and sites provide another draw. Long Island City is a former manufacturing epicenter and one of New York City's most exciting neighborhoods, with a lively nightlife scene, must-visit restaurants, and contemporary art museums. Along the waterfront, green spaces, Gantry Plaza State Park, and Hunters Point South Park are well suited for picnics and sunset strolls. Dynamic Flushing holds Queens Chinatown, its bustling main blocks lined with herbal shops and Asian bakeries and restaurants. The neighborhood is quite lush too. It's home to the borough's Botanical Garden and one of New York City's largest parks. Sunbathers and surfers flock to the residential neighborhood the Rockaways for oceanfront fun. This area has the only 2 surf beaches in the city, along with fishing spots and numerous playgrounds for kids. But it's not just a summertime destination. Rockaway Beach offers plenty to do year-round. Shopping at independent boutiques, checking out the art and history at Fort Tilden. If your client wants to explore the outdoors while in Queens, Long Island City and Astoria have amazing outdoor spaces for them to enjoy. Sitting between the Robert F. Kennedy and Hell's Gate bridges, Astoria Park's pool offers one of the most scenic swims in the city. Even during off-season when the pool is closed, scenic views of Manhattan skyline can still be seen along the East River coastline. Tennis courts, skate parks, bocce courts, playgrounds, and special events are available on first-come, first-served basis throughout the year. Once an abandoned landfill in the 1980s, it has been transformed into an internationally renowned outdoor museum and park, offering a host of free family programs and a place to picnic or walk along the East River with a view of Manhattan skyline. The Socrates Sculpture Park is open 365 days a year from 9 a.m. to sundown. All exhibition and programs are free. However, there is a fee for guided tours. Guided tours focus on accessibility of contemporary sculpture while contextualizing the ideas behind viewing art in an outdoor setting. Flushing Meadows-Corona Park is the largest park in Queens and the fourth largest park in New York City, and was also the site of 2 World's Fairs. The Unisphere was commissioned for the New York World's Fair of 1964. Just like the Unisphere, the pavilion was also designed for the 1964 World's Fair. The Queens Botanical Garden evolved from the Gardens on Parade exhibit showcased at the 1939 World's Fair. Today, it's an urban oasis where people, plants, and cultures are celebrated through inspiring gardens, innovative educational programs, and real-world applications of environmental stewardship. Signs around the garden are posted in English, Chinese, Korean, and Spanish. Now that we've explored Queens, we're off to Staten Island. From Queens to Staten Island is quite a trip, and your client can make their way directly by New York City taxi or going through Manhattan and taking the scenic route on the famed Staten Island Ferry. Staten Island abounds with museums, architectural landmarks, beaches, and parkland, including the city's largest forest preserve. Many reach the borough via the free Staten Island Ferry, an attraction in its own right. Staten Island also features New York City's premier outdoor shopping and dining center, Empire Outlets. Staten Island is home to nearly 500,000 residents, and major films such as Goodfellas and A Beautiful Mind have been filmed in Staten Island, and the characters from the popular television show Impractical Jokers all hail from the borough. St. George is on Staten Island's North Shore. Your clients can reach it via a free and picturesque ride on the ferry, which runs around the clock. It's located just across New York Harbor from Manhattan, and St. George is the gateway to Staten Island, home to historic architecture, a scenic baseball stadium, outlet shopping, and sweeping views. Verdant Randall Manor is home to Snug Harbor Cultural Center and Botanical Garden. Its campus includes the Staten Island Museum and Staten Island Children's Museum, which feature illuminating art, theater, and science programs. Richmond Town was originally known as Cockles Town in honor of its proximity to plentiful clams and oysters. The neighborhood is best known for historic Richmond Town, a village of restored buildings from the 17th through early 20th centuries. The structures and costume reenactors help visitors feel like they're experiencing early New York City history for themselves. Walker Park is a Staten Island park which is named to honor local cricket club member Lieutenant Randolph Walker, who died in World War I. It's known for its rich history in the New York cricket and tennis worlds, including being the grounds of the Staten Island Cricket and Tennis Club in 1872. Initially built in the 1800s as a home for retired sailors, Snug Harbor Cultural Center and Botanical Garden is said to be the largest ongoing adaptive reuse project in America. The 29 historical buildings, 9 botanical gardens, and 10 acres of wetlands set on an 83-acre campus are the elements of a regional arts center where history, architecture, visual art, theater, dance, music, and environmental science provide dynamic experiences for all ages. The venue, which is a Smithsonian affiliate, is home to the Newhouse Center for Contemporary Art, the Noble Maritime Collection, Staten Island's Children's Museum, the Art School Art Lab, and the Staten Island Museum. What stadium has the best view in all of sports? The Staten Island Yankees home has to rank near the top. Just a short walk from the Staten Island Ferry St. George Terminal, the stadium sits feet from New York Harbor, and fans can see the Manhattan skyline from their seats. It's the perfect place to take in the efforts of future New York Yankees greats. Some former baby bombers, including Robinson Cano and Ian Kennedy, are now big league stars. To review, today we shared with you everything you'd want to know when planning a trip for your client to New York City, including its geography, how to get there. We take a deep dive into the 5 boroughs, helping you get acquainted with each of their unique neighborhoods, cuisines, parks, and recreation, and arts and culture. There's much more to learn about the 5 boroughs of NYC, which you can discover at nycgo.com/neighborhoods. There are also a number of resources that you can take advantage of on our website. nycgo.com/travel trade has a number of online tools created specifically for the travel trade audience. A great tool is our interactive product directory, which makes it easy to browse and search for New York City attractions, performances, tours, hotels, restaurants, transportation providers, and more. Similar to this webinar, nycgo.com/webinars have additional free on-demand webinars that serve our global community. Each webinar covers a different neighborhood or theme that will help professionals sell the city and is available in several languages. There's also our Trade Pass, which gives certified travel professionals exclusive deals and discounts at restaurants, cultural and sightseeing attractions, theaters, and more. And going along with the times, there are now plenty of ways to explore all 5 boroughs digitally. Virtual NYC provides online resources from museums, galleries, comedy clubs, theaters, and other venues, allowing your clients to experience the best of New York City virtually. If you have any questions about anything I've covered in the webinar or anything in the future, please feel free to reach out to me using the information you see on this page. Now, please note that this webinar has been recorded and you can find it at the end of the day at the Visit USA website and YouTube channel, Visit USA, the Netherlands. There will be a Brand USA webinar to follow this in the series on the 14th of July. Thank you for taking the time to learn about our city. We definitely appreciate it. And let me see if I can just access some of these questions here that we can go through. The window is a bit hard for me to navigate. Just bear with me, please. Okay. It's the one question I have here is how many days do we think you would need to go to New York City? That's a funny question. You can visit New York City in a day or 30 days. I think the ideal trip to New York City would probably be about 4 to 6 days. That would be a good time to get out to the boroughs, explore a couple neighborhoods, and see the main sites that your clients would want to see. But the longer they can stay, the better. Okay, I see another question. What is phase 3 in New York? How many phases do we have? So we just entered phase 3 yesterday. This is phase 3 of 4. Phase 3, the main change here where we were able to go to get our haircuts and return to dining at restaurants. Though we did do away with the indoor restaurants for now, we have focused on outdoor restaurants only. The city so far has closed down 22 public streets to accommodate some outdoor dining. So we're really expanding in that space. Okay, do you recommend using a tour guide or just explore on your own? There are benefits to both. We definitely have great tour guides and tour operators in our city that you can go to take a tour of these boroughs and neighborhoods. That's the best way to really deep dive, but it's also fun to spend some time on your own. So I would say, if you're coming for 4 or 5 days, book a tour or 2, just a 1-hour tour here and there on things that they would really be interested in, learning some more knowledge about. And then the rest of it, the New York City is a pretty good self-guided city. Okay, do we have any more questions? Okay, I say, what are must-dos when you come to New York City for the first time? Hey, there are many, many things to do in New York City. I think, some of the keys are people want to go to the classics, some of the more classic traditional places. So, the Empire State Building, Rockefeller Center, Central Park are some of those top ones. But I also think that taking the time to go to Arthur Avenue, the Little Italy in the Bronx, and being able to taste some delicious, authentic food there is really amazing. Heading to the Brooklyn Museum, which has a large collection of feminist art and art of a very representative art. At the New York City Transit Museum, where you go down and visit the old trains, or the Rubin Museum of Himalayan Art. You know, the list kind of goes on and on as far as must-dos, but the great thing about having all that product is that you basically you drill down on what your client wants to do, and we have something that's a must-do for them. Okay. Is it easy to bicycle on your own in New York City, or preferably with a guide? In Manhattan, the island of Manhattan is on a grid. So if you're staying on Manhattan, it's fairly easy to bicycle on your own, and you can now bicycle around the entirety of the shore, you know, the outer limits of Manhattan. So that's definitely something that you can do on your own. If you're going into the outer boroughs, I would suggest the guide. You know, some of the boroughs, especially, you know, the Bronx and Brooklyn, can have pretty winding roads and winding neighborhoods, so it could be pretty easy to get lost if it's your first time out. But at the same time, there's you know, using smartphones and things like that, if those are available, could definitely help cut that out. But I think I think both options are available and are really good. I hope that helps out a bit. Okay, I'll just continue to keep adding in the questions and answers if you like. Just like to run through some of these Visit USA slides for you all. You know, very appreciative of Visit USA and the Netherlands office for providing this opportunity to us. And a big shout out to Cornelis van der Creek, our representative in the Netherlands for a long time. He's doing a great job with you guys. Okay, do we have any more questions? I think if not, we're close to wrapping this up. Okay, terrific. Well, thank you all for your time today. I really appreciate you learning more about New York City. And you know, these are tough times, and we're going to get through this together. So I hope you all stay safe, and we're really looking forward to welcoming you and your clients to New York City very, very soon. Okay, thank you all. Take care.